Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I may as well just end the music there. Usually I come in with the music, so if someone tunes in like, man, I really like you talking with the music, I'm sorry, the song ended at a perfect time, so I had to do it. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, just got Max ad on the stream. Did you? Oh, good. Zaslav giving us something? No, gives us nothing. Oh, it's one of the. Oh, actually, I need that phone for topics. I just threw it down. Yeah, as everyone knows, like YouTube, we get ads. They do help. The most things that help are super chat, but man, YouTube's ad revenue just ad revenue in general is down. Even with podcasting, it's down. We've talked about it before, just because it was like the quarter four of last year and quarter one this year. Like advertisers had like a bad day. Oh my goodness, my hair is messy. I'm somewhat put together today, but as you can see for the video listeners, or if you're hearing, hair messy. Background's different. I got no fun lights and stuff like that. I'm in the middle of a move. Yes, this is. You'll see probably like a couple more podcasts here, and then I'll be in the new place. I guess I should get that banner down. I'll be in the new place, and yeah, it's going good. The last time I moved, I only had one child. Now I have three, so that is a pain. But luckily, we're like 60% done. It's the big stuff, like that desk. You probably can't even hear it. That desk or stuff. What does suck though? Maybe I'll have to find some way. But where I'm podcasting now is it's gonna be in a different room. I don't think I'm gonna have room for this type of stuff, my posters and everything going forward. I think I'll have it at some point because it's a long story. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna have the setup anymore and stuff like that. I feel like I hate me. Yeah, it's not fun. Yeah, luckily yesterday I just did the thing of like I just put on the big boy pants. I'm okay, just stop stop hating it. Let's just go and stuff like that. And I got lots of done actually. I'm surprised more happened. I'm like, yeah, no, I want to get it done, but yeah, I think like where I'm podcasting because the girl's getting bigger, because it's like kind of like a transitional place. We've talked about this on After Nine, where I'm kind of deciding where there's three places in BC. We're kind of figuring out where we're gonna like live, and maybe like buy a house and stuff, which is down the line because fucking houses are super expensive. But when we do that, it's like, okay, where do we want to pick? Well, right now we're still in Kelowna where I am, but it's kind of like a transitional place. So the girl's gonna have lots of room. I'm like in like a there's like a kitchen slash other room connected to it. I'm that, and I'm gonna just have like the setup's good because it has a nice desk and everything. But yeah, not much room for our room. It's gonna be me and just like a wall. So, and I don't even know if I'll have my fun lights. So that's gonna be disappointing. But oh well, it's for the best part. So yeah, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. Whether you're live, good evening, Maddie Sags. It's good to see you as always. Good to see when you can join and stuff like that. So. And I hope you will be, and I hope Best Bubs and anybody else that's on Patreon will be joining this Friday, 6 p.m. PST. Probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most. Yeah, it is, because of just if it was just me and the guys doing it, I'm looking forward to it. But me and the patrons, that's what makes it more fun. We do have the PlayStation Showcase. Me and Kirkland are breaking down tomorrow, and that's going to be fantastic. So look out for that. But yeah, this Friday, 6 p.m. PST, we'll be watching Batman 89 in honor of The Flash coming out. And I haven't talked to the guys. I'm thinking, well, no, I guess we can wait. I was going to say, should we do Batman Returns as well? But we can always do that for Christmas. I just thought because we probably will never see Keaton again as Batman, right? But Batman 89, you join the $5 tier up and come join everything like that, and maybe it'll be there in the future apparently, or maybe you'll be able to do it this week. The Patreon's starting a 7-day trial, so we're not pimping that out yet. I don't know the facts on it. I just got the email this week. So if you're someone that's ever thought, hey, I want to check out some of that content, what's the ad-free stuff like that, I'd like to join in after 9, there will be trials coming, and we employ you to do that. We employ you. July 31st is the end of our goal. It doesn't matter what tier you're at, whether it's the $1 tier, the $15 tier. We just want 50 patrons. You do that, we unlock 5 casts that we will produce extra for you guys and do the GB bingo. But the 5 casts are Rise Skywalker commentary track, the Nintendo Cinematic Universe cast, which I really want to do because Clay actually in our GOA chat put about like a thread of like, what do you want to see next? And like, man, I want to map that out. But as we've said before, this and the 5 other casts, they're down below in the comments, or sorry, in the information. We will not do because it's extra work. So if you get us that point, great. If not, they'll be locked away in the GV vault like Disney, and maybe someday they'll get broken out if they hit the goal. Who knows? But and then and for people that follow myself, I'll be on Marvel Alliance returning this week. Brent is gone, so I'll be on there with Chris. Looking very forward to that. I'm excited to talk about some Marvel news. There's some stuff on there that I didn't get to talk about at all, as far as the Avengers writer changing and Ray Stevenson. But I'm going to save it for that show because that's Marvel Alliance, and that's tomorrow at 6 p.m. PST, because there's lots of changes this week with GV and GA. Lots of stuff going on. But yeah, PlayStation Showcase. And anybody on Patreon, you can go over and our schedule I think is on the public and stuff like that. So I suppose haven't seen Batman 89 in like a year. Very excited to see it again. I definitely saw it this year. Yeah, because I think it's after after the first Flash trailer, I did the Batman 89 and Batman Returns back to back. So and that's like that's why again, as always, those posts when it's like, what movies have you seen before 8 times? It's like I have too many. The Spider-Mans, Batman, some of the X-Men's. I watch like I watch them multiple times a year. This is a good go-to stuff. On Liam says the Flash is tracking a bigger domestic opening than Little Mermaid. Well, we will talk about that in a second. But to get into just a few questions from our patrons, Maddie and S-Bubs that are in the chat, and then we'll transition to some of our topics. But let me get, let's see. We'll start with S-Bubs here, who says, what are your most anticipated films for the rest of 2023? Now, I have to pull it up, and I'm going to pick 5 because I don't want to be that guy. It's tough because like in June, it's already 1-2. I have the Flash is my number 1. As always, I've said this before, it's just purely because of Keaton. People might think that's a cop-up, but I love Keaton, and hey, when we're going to talk about the tracking, apparently other people do. Yeah, sure, it's the crossovers, and sure, it's the Flash, but I promise you, we'll get into it, but we'll get into it. I love Keaton like many other people. That's number 1 for me. Spider-Verse is number 2. I think quality-wise, that would be number 1, but that's number 2. Even then, maybe it could be 3 or 4, because my only concern was I've always said the director switches, but from enough people that have like the good word of mouth already, they did a thing where the embargo is happening May 30th, but it's actually dropping 6 days earlier. They're confident in this film, doesn't always pay off. We're going to talk about the Indiana Jones reviews, but they're confident in this film, so that makes me confident. So I got that number 2, and then 3 is Dune. 3 is what do we get that? And me and Emily saw Fast. We got that. And man, when that fucking score hits, actually, that was the first time I got Dune on the big screen. Man, when that when that hits, I'm like, I'm ready to fucking go back in the sand dunes. I'm ready for that. So Denis always been like, even these 5, I could take these 5 films and be fine the rest of the year. And that's why it sucks, because like a movie like The Creator is not going to be my top 5, it'd be like 6 or 7. But so Dune would be number 3, and then number 4 is Barbie. Easily, big Greta Gerwig fan, big Robbie fan, big Reynolds fan. I just look at that movie and I think they're gonna knock out of the park. I think it's gonna be a very, very fun movie. I'm not saying the best movie ever made. I'm not saying I don't even know it's gonna be my favorite movie of the year. But I just feel like if you go to the theaters to have a good time seeing a movie, Barbie's gonna be that. I really do. Dua Lipa's new song, Dance the Night, is dropping this Friday. My God, shout out to Casey. So I'm very excited about that. And then 5's Oppenheimer. Now, as usual, I've said before, the plot, the era, I don't really care about the bomb. I'm not a big history buff. I'm not a big war film buff either. Like, there's ones I like, but that's not what I'm super into. But it's purely on the list because of Nolan. That's why. It's like the Flash, and why Flash is number 1 because Keaton. Nolan, he's my favorite director. Yeah, I'm seeing Barbie first, but still, like at the end of the day, if I had to pick, it's still Barbie overall. But if it was like you could never see one ever again, I'd probably go with Oppenheimer because Nolan's my favorite director of all time. So it's one of these things where it's like I'm very excited to see what he does. I'm excited for him to kind of not change my mind, but I think that I will enjoy it the same way Dunkirk. I really didn't have much excitement for. My hairs look messy. I have a bad part today. The same way that Dunkirk I didn't really care about because I'm not a war guy. That's just because it's just because of Nolan, and he made a great film, and I actually enjoy it. I think I gave it like a 9.5 when I reviewed it, but that's the reason why. Saw is lower down because let's see. SBUB says very similar, anticipated. I have Indiana Jones and Marvel's up there too. Indy we'll talk about because Maddie, you do have a question about Indiana Jones that I will hold to the back end there. And then Marvel's I'm like anticipated. I'm not very anticipated. I'm anticipated for. But SBubs, of course, you liked Marvel's a lot more than me, or Miss Marvel. And then Saw's lower down there just because no trailer yet. I agree. To me, Saw, I'm very excited, but it's definitely top 10. It can't get to the top 5, I think, for me. The top 5 is... I don't know. Like, I just know what we're getting with Saw. It's tough because I would say like, oh, if it's a Saw reboot, would I be more excited? Probably not, because we have the original players coming back. So maybe if that's what I'd probably put Saw maybe at like a 6, because I'm not more excited than Indy. Yeah, Indy probably be 6, I guess. Reviews, might have changed some things about that, but India 6, yeah, like even then, I guess I'll just do it now. Crater's in there, Indiana Jones is in there, Saw's in there. Let me quickly go through because I'm giving you a top 10. I am being that guy. Let's quickly go through. So I got what, three more spots left? Let's see here. The Mag, no, that's not in there. TMT could be up there, maybe, so that might be another one for me. Blue Beetle, I'm excited for, but not top 10. Let's see. Craven the Hunter, no. There has to be something else in, let's see, November. Hunger Games, no. Next Goal Wins would be a top 10 because Fassbender and Taika Waititi together. Aquaman, uh, before I would have put it up there, I'm more excited for Blue Beetle than I am Aquaman just because the scuttlebutt about Aquaman. But if there wasn't scuttlebutt about Aquaman, I would be up there because I loved that first one. I had a really good time with it. So I don't know. We'll see. But that's my top 10. Oh, yeah. No, you're completely right, Maddie. Because I just literally went from August to now. Dead Reckoning, that I think would probably be number 6. That's over Indie. That'd be over Saw. What else would that be? Yeah, like Indie Dead Reckoning is definitely that's up there. Actually, 7 Fast X hasn't taken off the list. Yeah, Fast was never up there. Oppenheimer screens October, November, not a summer movie. I agree with you on the game, but it's just because that's a Nolan thing. He's into the summer blockbusters and stuff. And we're gonna talk about the day because the show's mostly just we don't talk about Oppenheimer specifically, but the box office in the summer, we already see there's some movies were projected to have some big runs, like Little Mermaid this week, and then you have something like we're gonna get into like Transformers and what was the other one too? Oh, there was another one that wasn't tracked that great, but even Fast had like a lower domestic, which we'll get into. So yeah, we'll see. It's Dead Reckoning is definitely up there though, and there's lots of good stuff. I'm hoping it hits. I think that's been the issue with the first half of the year, but because there was lots of good big stuff, but didn't exactly hit. So I don't know. Well, we will see. So Maddie, I'm gonna get to both your questions. We're gonna do Indiana Jones to tie to the topic, breaking the fourth wall. But let's get into the Flash. So on the game to get us up there. What is this? 4 credit writers for Indy 5. David Kiop from Crystal Call should have been a warning sign. I remember that, but I think the reason it wasn't a warning sign because I remember they announced it and it's like all the writers and it's like the guy from there, Crystal Skull. But I think that with Lucas being off it, because this was in the era. Oh man, and my camera. We'll see this for the video people. My camera's set to be in the dark when the lights are off, so I might get a little autofocus sometimes. I'll have to fix that at the new place, but that was in the era, and I'm somebody that I still feel that way. When Lucas wasn't attached to something, or I was someone that felt that way, it was like, fuck yeah, like it's like Lucas has had some not great things. Now I think we've all been like, oh, shouldn't have been so harsh on him because you hear the way he talks. He's a little over dramatic about it sometimes still. When I've always said when he compares like the stuff being taken from him, like white trade slavers and stuff like that, it's like, dude, you sold it for billions of dollars and it's just fake fiction stuff. It doesn't compare to like slavery. Like, so that's where with George, I'm always 50-50 where I understand people's points, but I'm not saying he's racist or bad guy. I'm just saying like, I think it hurt him at some point when he realized people are going to just make this stuff without him. He went, oh, kind of got out of control. But at the same time, he was a little hyperbolic about it. But I think that era, that was when, they parted ways. He's not doing the sequels. They're doing Indiana Jones 5 without him. I think people were like, yeah, good, get Luke's out of there. Now we'll talk about it in the reviews or in that topic. I think that could have been a sign, but who knows? I got to judge it till I see the movie. I don't know, obviously. But yeah, like I'm not sure if what is his name, David there, like if he was the one that wrote any of the other ones. I don't think so. So yeah, that could have been a sign and stuff like that. But Asbub says, for me, it's definitely not as exciting last year. I don't see much else I would add to the list. I would agree. I'm hoping there's a few more, like how the Creator came out. I'm hoping there's a few more ones like that. Shit. I guess I should have said, oh man, is there anything to bump out? Top 10 for sure is Killers of the Flower Moon. Now, the subject matter actually more interests me because it's not a topic I know about. I'm not saying I'm a fucking master of Oppenheimer and the bomb, but it's like I went to school, I know enough where it's like I don't know if I need a movie. I'm sure this is the character study and deep mind control and all this stuff, right? And Cillian Murphy's gonna fucking destroy it. Yeah, all that. I get it. 2 thumbs up. Oh, 1 second. Is it? Yeah, hang on 1 second. Oh, I'm back. Okay. So what was happening there is before cooking lasagna for the girls, they're coming home. The idea was to take it off at 4, sit down here. 17 minutes later, I'm like, oh boy, a little crispy on the side. Think it's gonna be okay, but thank God I remember that would have been a fucking just burnt ass lasagna. Anyways, back to Alvin, stuff like that. Killers of the Flower Moon for sure is a top 10 because Martin Scorsese. That seems to be like the best picture frontrunner, which means it's not gonna win because the frontrunner this early always like drops down. But I loved The Irishman. Marty is to me my top three. I got Nolan, Tarantino, Marty. Marty, I think, is the best. I put him as the best. Nolan's my favorite. Tarantino's like somewhere stuck in the middle, but I'm that person that thinks Marty is the best and stuff like that. Let's see. David had written some bangers. Spider-Man in 2002 in the original Jurassic Park. Oh yes, that's where it's just to me. It's sometimes you hit or miss, and it can't just be on one guy, right? Still comes down to Mangold. Still comes down to again. That's to me the other thing where it does work, but like you said, All in the Game is like, oh, it has 4 writers. I remember when I was watching Homecoming for the first time, they're doing the credits, and it got to like written by it was like 7 to 8 different people. Like, geez, Louise. So I feel like sometimes that can also be an issue. Not even if it's just David himself. It's just that hey, there's 4 writers on here, and Mangold probably 2 directing. It's like you lose some of the vision, right? So hello, Evo Girth. Hello, girls. You look too young to have kids. Yeah, I know, Evo. Or Invo Earth. I have 3 kids. I got 3 kids. What are they? They're all about to change ages. They're about to be 6, 4, and 2. So I've had them very close together. Might have one more because we come from a big family. That's what the next few years deciding from. But yeah, we want to have them early. Yeah, just for aptitude of different reasons and stuff. But yeah, that's why I did not want to burn it, or my lovely wife would have not been happy with me. She give me a specific look, and luckily she's not someone who gets mad, but I would be like, I would feel bad. But the lasagna's been saved. Let's see. Yeah, didn't love The Irishman. Irishman for me, All in the Game was a movie that I liked the first go around, and then I watched the second time and really enjoyed it. It is slower. I do have issues. I think I have it like a 9.5. But yeah, I did actually really quite enjoy that one. So anyways, The Flash. Let's get into it. The first main topic. It's tracking right now. Oh, I'll have to pull. It's whatever. It's the range. We know what it is. It's like a 110 to 140. So technically, if it gets to the highest, now that was the early tracking, which we still have. This is a good thing. Early tracking for some of these bigger movies can be kind of downplaying it a bit. And we've seen the reverse where it gets too high up and there's like a disappointment, right? But right now it's kind of between 110 and 140. If we don't know what's going to happen with what is it? Little Mermaid this week, so we'll see. It's got good enough buzz at like 70% Rotten Tomatoes. Doesn't matter. We've seen those Disney ones are kind of bulletproof. I'm not sure. What do we have? The last ones. Oh, what was someone tell me in the chat what the last theatrical Disney movie was? I don't think it was like live action remake. I don't think it was Aladdin, right? It was something else, and I thought that didn't do the greatest. Maybe I'm wrong, but Aladdin, $1 billion. Lion King's $1 billion. Jungle Book pretty much was $1 billion. So it's one of these things that it's gonna do great. People are gonna like the same thing of like myself. I have no interest in seeing Little Mermaid in the theaters, maybe if at all, but my girls want to, right? So it's one of these things that lots of people will go see them because of that. So let's take Little Mermaid out of the equation because we don't know. That's a few days away. I'll talk about next Trash told you. I think the record right now this year is I think it's like 133 or something with Super Mario Bros, which now has crossed. Yeah, Cruella did come out, but I guess that was one of those things where it's like 2021, but that was Disney Plus, right? So I'm talking more, and I'd say more. Let's see, Mulan. Okay, yeah, no. So those were just the ones, right? So this is the first time we've had like a big one, and even though Emma Stone and Cruella, that's big. I don't think Cruella's as big as Little Mermaid. Like Little Mermaid's one of the S tiers, right? Same when we talk about the Nintendo Cinematic Universe, like a Donkey Kong, Zelda, Mario, like you have certain ones. Little Mermaid, that's an S tier one. So it's going to do well. And people are looking forward to it and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't think Cruella got a theatrical release. I think, let's see, but those went to Disney Plus. And I think maybe in like a couple markets, but so take that out of it. Super Mario, which is now the 3rd biggest animated movie of all time. I still said it's going to get to number 1. I think it still needs like another 200 million. So I might be wrong on that. Might have been a bit too bullish and stuff like that. But oh yeah, Pinocchio. But that was just a Disney Plus one, right? They've all kind of just been Disney Plus and stuff like that. So and that made sense of why they weren't going to fucking release that in theatrical and stuff like that. So Flash is tracking for that, and if it beats Mario, like I said, I don't know if Mario's gonna get that top number one, but it's number three right now. It's still making money and stuff like that, so we'll see. Um, do I think, and that kind of goes in all the games question here, do you think the Flash will open higher than Suicide Squad's 133 or get even close to BVS's 166? Eh, so the two sides of that are sometimes we've seen it if it's tracking low, like not I mean like the tracking is lower and the hype builds up. The 140 is what it's actually tracking at and it gets higher. I think the Batman was kind of like that where it was tracking like the high point was it got that and like $8 million more or something. Oh, maybe it wasn't. I can't remember. Someone again give me. I don't want to keep using the chat as like fucking the interns in the chair. I suppose might be able to, but I feel like the Batman didn't make like 120, 130, and I think it was tracking like at that originally because it was this thing where it was like tracking the high point was like it was like 90 to 110, and people were like that's super low, and then the high point, the second one came, was like oh it might actually be 140, and it didn't hit the 140, but it goes up. I think it does it. Do you think it will open? And this is where I get into predictions, right? 133. I think so. I get that's bold of me to say it's could be the biggest opening of the year, right? Because I know that's what's being projected at, but that's a big claim. I think the hype is starting to really build. They're doing these early screenings, which I feel bad for Ben and Dave, who Vodka Stream Film Junkie, and he's on Real Anarchy. Ben, I was on his show a couple weeks ago, and that was tons of fun. Feel bad for them. If you look into the early Flash screenings that they did for people, man, what a fucking shit show. Because we've done like. You would get tickets and it was literally just first come first serve for, let's say, okay, 500 people, and it was someplace like 1,000, so 500 people got turned away. Let's say 1,000 people showed up. They didn't sell tickets out for, hey, and they were free, which just happened to us at Screen. It wasn't like, okay, we only have 500 tickets, put them out. It was just, okay, put them out, and then people showed up and they turned them away. Awful. But the hype is building. I will say, like, reactions, I've seen quite a few negative like reviews, but I can't get into that until people start that I enjoy and follow have seen it and have similar likes. As far as podcasters that I do that like do it professionally, they say, I think I'm going to like this, and I think the GA is going to like this. I think they're there for Keaton, because I've had this conversation before. So for yes, right now, All in the Game, I'll say we'll beat 133. I think there's, okay, there you go, All in the Game. Thank you very much. I had a 134 opening. So and that's what it was, right? Because the next highest projections was like a 140, and people were like, oh, it came under 6 million, but it's like, that was like the second projection. Like that's the higher ones. Pretty good. Do I think it will beat that? I'll say yes. I think it can hit that 140 to 145. Me and Emily were talking about this in the car, that she had someone at work, same thing, found out Keaton was in it. She's going to see it. I remember I told my in-laws, and I think it was like they saw a picture of the Batman, and they they asked for clarification for me. And I said, oh, well, that's Keaton. And oh, really? Both my mother-in-law and father-in-law, who they're the cut type people that would see 3 to 4 movies a year, they're in. They always, oh yeah, we'll have to see that one, especially with the drive-ins happening now. They have to see that one. So I think that's going to spread. I think you got hype spreading. I think more people will realize, hey, that's Michael Keaton. You're going to get other stuff going on. So I think 140 is possible. I think it's going to have a big grand event. The only thing that could hurt it like a little bit is reviews, but not really, because like look at Suicide Squad and BVS. Both had like what, 26, 27 Rotten Tomatoes, and they open to that height. So I think 140. I see Clay says that. Yeah, I say I'm on the 140 to 145, even pushing 150. But I think 150 is just like the cap. I don't think it beats BVS. I think if Ezra was more established, then yes. I think if Sasha was more established, then yes. Keaton does help, but with No Way Home, it was everyone kind of knew Tobey and Andrew in it, and he also had all the villains. This is just Keaton, and I guess Affleck coming back, but like Affleck was, I guess he was in 2, but it's tough, right? The 2 he was in was BVS, which made $800 million, but then Justice League Theatrical, which was a big disappointment. I haven't seen the Snyder Cut, right? So, and Vore says, have you seen the Flash TV show? I am sad that it's ending as far as for fans of it. I have seen it up to season 6, and then I just kind of gave up because there's too many episodes. I don't think I'll catch up one day, but I do agree with you that I do prefer Grant to Ezra, but I also think that's just because the writing style that they have Ezra's Flash, I'm not the biggest fan of, and it's not so much that people like the character is on the spectrum. That's not it. It's just that how much joking Barry has for me in the even the Snyder cut. So yeah, I definitely prefer Grant, and I think whoever James Gunn casts as the next Flash will probably end up being my favorite, hopefully, because I like Grant, but like the material hasn't been the greatest at times. But Ezra, I think, is a better actor than Grant. I think they are very, very talented. They just got a lot of stuff going on in their life. But I loved Ezra Miller like 2010 to 2015. Like we need to talk about Kevin. He has some banger performances and stuff like that. So let's see. Someone said General Zod is the main villain. That can't be true. Maybe it is. I won't say it's so close and whatnot. You could find that out if you really wanted to. Just don't spoil yourself if that's true or not. Apparently, the pre-sales for Flash right now are half of what Guardians 3s were. That's interesting because, and what is that from? I'm not saying you're wrong because I'm sure you've seen that. Guardians, that would be crazy, right? If projections came out and it made like a 60 to 70 million and stuff like that. I think regardless, if we're talking lowball, I do think regardless, there's no way this opens under 100 million. If it does, then to me that's a disappointment for Flash. If it's under 100 million, even 110 to me, I go, okay, like that's still that like 100 plus is good to me. I know people might think that is disappointing, but I don't. If it gets to like only that 100, 110, unless it's good word of mouth, I don't know about the $1 billion mark, but because again, Ezra's not that established. DC has had some very wishy-washy as far as like, good film, bad film, good film, bad film, stuff like that. I think that 110 is still good, and you still have some good legs. You got international markets and stuff like that. I think it will still play relatively well. Okay, so I don't think I just don't think it's at the same level as No Way Home as well too. I know people want to make the comparison, but I don't. Even just Ezra alone, they've only been in one project full time. They've had a bunch of appearances everywhere, but it's not like No Way Home where you had Doctor Strange, 3 returning actors who like Jamie Foxx, William Dafoe, maybe not Alfred Molina, but like are very popular actors. Then you had, rumors of these people coming back. You had Zendaya, who's even bigger. Like No Way Home definitely on paper is much bigger status. So I feel like people are going to play that game. For me, it's not so much about No Way Home, which is what they make. If it's under 100, that's not good. That's really not good. It's just aggregate reports from various theaters. Plus, I think they'll have a lot of tickets later on, not super early pre-sales. Could be. What was I going to say? Because I want to open up mine. Because when I went to buy tickets today, there was none sold yet. Because luckily, I'll be seeing it with Mr. Kirkland Patz are there. Because where I live, I'm closer to his theater. Yeah, so for our biggest screen on Thursday, not a single seat sold yet. Not great, but I will feel like, oh man, who knows what's going on with my camera. Hopefully you can all still hear me. I do feel like, there we go, Speed Force. My camera's been bugging out recently, so I do feel that, like you said, I suppose I think later on it's going to pick up some pace. I think there'll be talk about it. I don't think it's as much as an event as Endgame and No Way Home and Force Awakens. To me, those were the 3, even Last Jedi a little bit, those were the 3 to 4 that were like people on my Facebook that semi-follow movies knew, hey, it's going to hit, tickets are on sale. This time, be quick. I don't think this movie's that yet. I think this movie will do well, but I don't think it is hey, the theater's going to sell out. Clearly, mine's not. I remember when I saw like Force Awakens and stuff like that, the second tickets went on sale, that stuff was gone. I remember it was crashing. So I think it's going to be a hit. I think people are building up a lot more to be this mega hit, and even the 140. So do I think it's a for sure? I'm saying right now 140, yeah, but I could like the responsible ones probably want 120, but I'll say 140 to be both. See if it beats Suicide Squad and stuff like that. Let's see. Do you think Henry Cavill and Grant Gustin will have a cameo? Well, Grant says no, which I think is lame, and Henry Cavill's cameo is rumored to be cut and stuff, which I think is. I don't know if it's a mistake or not. I think it's kind of a mistake of like it'd be nice just to help people send off the DCU, but if it's a big like, hey, get people excited for the future, then yeah, cut it. Let's see. No way it does Shazam numbers. No, that would be catastrophic. Then I'm really worried for DC. But no, fucking Evil Dead beat the Shazam Fury of the Gods, so I don't think that'll happen. Let's see. Shazam 2, so I love Shazam. But so I'm gonna go right now with I'll say 141. I'm trying to be bold. I think more realistically, if you kind of go in the middle and play, safe, it's like I could see a 125. But I think the hype's building to me, even though I just checked my theater and I live in a smaller city, so it's not as bad. So like bigger cities might have it. I think, and even then, like it's tough with the fan screenings because hey, those are fans. But I've been to fan screenings before too, where the theater's not completely full. There is a hype here. It will build up. And even if it is like raw on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it's one of those that people want to go see. But once you get a little bit closer and it's actually around, that's gonna happen. Now, let's see. 1 to 15, 140 is massive. I can see 140. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Nerdy Mastermind, which is a lot to put together there. It's still big. It's the same thing as Guardian. It's just tough, right? I think what skewed all of us, including myself at times, was that 2019 run of movies. Box office was huge, massive opening weekends all the time. I think there was like what $7, $8 billion movies, or I think there was like $11 billion movies, and 7, 8 of them were Disney, whatever it was. Huge numbers where that just became the norm. It's like if you're a biggest movie, you got to hit a billion. But that was a massive run, and hitting a billion still really, really big. It's still like hard thing to do. It's not easy. We've only had what, four of them, I guess, now since COVID, really. So it's four of them since 2019, and the COVID happened in the middle of that, right? But still, four. You got Top Gun, No Way Home, Avatar, and now Mario. So it's not, and Doctor Strange and Minions almost got there. They got within striking distance of it. So I think that's going to happen. I think people are going to get excited for it. I think it will build up. I think, like I said, you have people that I just talked to you about. The Emily's coworker, that was last week. They're just finding out now, oh, that's Michael Keaton's Batman. Like people don't watch these things the way we do. And if it's good word of mouth will happen. Now, I can't remember. I think it's one of these things where it technically has it's like Guardians, right? Where it has 1 week to itself after, and then next is Indie. Yeah. So you got Flash, which Elementals comes out the same day. We're going to talk about that. Flash comes out the next week. There's nothing. And then the week after is Indie. So it could, if it's lucky, you could have like a similar situation to Guardians, where Guardians opens big, obviously not as big as the second one, but still opens big, has like a great drop. And I'm not saying Flash is going to have this drop. It could be bigger, but Guardians, 46% drop. And then even this week, it was like 37% or something like that. 3 weeks that even though Fast X came out, 3 weeks in a row, good drops, good box office. Flash could have that where, okay, does really well. Second weekend, good drop. Third weekend, still a good drop. It's funny that you're going to have Keenan and Indiana Jones at the same time. And plus, if Indy's not the hype there, even before the reviews, we've been talking about that, right? For me, I've been like, what is the interest to Indiana Jones now in this day and age? Keaton and Batman, I think it's tough, right? Because the difference to me with those two are Indiana Jones and Michael Keaton's Batman, I think, are both iconic. And probably similar levels. You could maybe argue Indiana's more because no one else has played Indiana Jones, but Indiana Jones came back in 2008. We haven't had Keaton since 1992. So that to me is the difference why it is bigger for Keaton to come back versus Indy, because we've been here before, and it's a superhero project. So of course that adds some, more mystique to it for the GA and stuff like that. But yeah, I really think that I think Flash will do well. As far as reviews, I don't know. The Summer Hansy's going the complete opposite. I feel like the Flash is going to have the largest second weekend drop ever in history. I don't know if we're gonna go there. I know you're just probably saying in general. And in biggest, I can't remember what it is. Oh, I can't remember. For comic book movies, I know it's like I think. Oh, what is some of those? Someone find me. If someone can, because I can't look online. Comic book, is it Morbius or Ant-Man for that? And then for just overall, what's the second biggest weekend drop in recent history? Yeah, okay. No, I could get there. It's tough because like I said, I have seen some people say this is not the movie you think it is. It's not that great, but I just think with nostalgia stuff, it's going to help. I don't think it's going to have that. I think the most. Again, I'm being bold here. Maybe I'll see it and I'll go absolutely not. So I put my opinion out there to change for the Travis Told You after the Flash comes out, because the same way Ant-Man Quantumania, once that drop happened the second week, I went, well, yeah, no, duh, because that movie to me is not good, right? So for me, if I see the Flash, I go, Keaton helps it. Keaton gets that little extra push that I feel like it doesn't hit the 60. I'll say like a 55. So I reserve my, right to change my opinion, but I'm going to say like a 55. Halloween Ends is the 18th biggest second week draw. 80%. Didn't even know movies could drop 80%. Oh my God. Would I like a solo movie of Luther similar to Joker? Maybe. All that depends is star, writer, and director, but I don't think we're getting that. I think they're gonna have Luther in Superman Legacy, and that's gonna be the focus for now. I think Joker 2, you won't get a Joker 3, and I think the Batman's gonna be the one outlier. I think they will do Elseworld stuff. It'll probably be characters that aren't being touched in the main DCU. I don't like that. I wish you would do Elseworlds, but sure, I would like that, but it all comes down to cast and talents as well. If it's, Michael Bay directing, oh God, I don't know who's out there. I don't know. I'm trying to think of not a great actor. I can't even think of one on the spot. I don't know. I don't want to be disparaging to anybody. Let's just say it's just some actor I'm not a fan of. Then yeah. So it all depends. The general audience I've talked about have no idea Michael Keaton is going to be Batman again. And see, that's what's so funny about situations where, and I'm not sure, Hansi, let me know. When they know, do they get excited, or when they know, they just go, "Oh, okay, cool"? Because like someone like Dylan, he has no care for, because he's never seen those movies, never grew up with them. He knows it's Michael Keaton. He doesn't care. My sister, she grew up a Batman later. Bale's her Batman, right? Because we have a bigger age gap. So if Bale's back, boom, I'm gonna be there. Yeah, there you go. If it's, even though Lex Luthor as Eisenberg again, even though in the Snyder cut, I think if we would have got more with Eisenberg, we could have got more. I don't like the BVS version, or I would have liked it better. I don't like the BVS version, but I liked what we were seeing in Snyder Cut. So that way of Eisenberg, I could have been all for it. Morbius is the 65th biggest drop with 73.8%. Yeah, it's not hitting those numbers, so that's where I'll push back. It's 69%. Yeah, I see. That's where I'll push back and say I don't think it's gonna be the 60 to 70. I think it's like I think a 55 to 60 is the range, no matter what. I think if it reviews well and good word of mouth, then I don't know if you get the Guardians route, because the Guardians a lot different as far as the send off, this and that. If it's good word of mouth, reviews well, people are loving it, I could see a 50 to 55. If it's like a 760 to Rodden, that's a 55 to 60. I don't see it dropping more than 60. I really. Okay, I'll go this. I don't see it dropping more than 65. That's what I think. I think that it's gonna 65 is a barometer and stuff like that. BVS was 69. Yeah, that's the tough thing, because BVS was reviewed very poorly. I don't see this getting 26% on Tomatoes or stuff like that, but look, it does happen. It happens all the time, right? Thor was reviewed well. Well, Love and Thunder wasn't liked by everybody, but still, it was liked enough and reviewed well, and that still had like a 67% drop and stuff. So I'll say bold that it's going to be 55 to 60, because the weekend after there's nothing. But you never know. So, and then Hansi followed with, yeah, they didn't really care. I don't think they're connected to that character as much as modern fans are. 60. Oh yeah, look at Deadpool. It was even a 65% drop. Yeah, and that was reviewed well. People liked it and stuff like that. So I'll say, because the second weekend, and if it reviews well, 55 to 65, or 55 to 60. I'm going to be bold and say it doesn't go past 65. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Yeah, let's take our first ad break, and we'll be back with some more box office. And we're back. As a rook, didn't even take time. Bring my water in here. My water's like all the way across the room. What is this? Amateur hour? Center for Ant? Anyway, so yeah, those are some big drops. And anyway, so to talk about stuff, we'll talk about Indiana Jones here in a second. Let's see here. Let me just pull up I don't even have my own topics here. Indiana Jones. So no projections yet for this. There you go. And about Earth, you look like you're about 28. I am 28. Up until 2 months from now. Or no, I'm not. I'm 29. I'm old. I'm 19. We'll just go with that. Indiana Jones, Cans. That came out. Man, Cans has been funny, right? Stuff coming out. 5-minute reaction, standing ovation, stuff like that. My favorite one so far has been that The Idol came out, which I'm looking forward to in a car crash way. But The Idol came out. It's like 5-minute standing ovation. 9% of Rotten Tomatoes, worst reviewed thing in HBO show history. Again, there's only, I think, like 11 or 13 reviews. It will go up because people that review TV, it's like up in the 200s, right? But it was funny. But so Disney has this great idea, right? Gonna put out Indiana Jones, and that comes out 2 weeks after Flash and stuff like that. But still, so that's even longer. Flash is like what, 3 weeks away and stuff like that now. It's at 27% now, The Idol. Ooh. So it's going down at least. Yeah, that's gonna be something. I'm excited to watch that in a couple weeks just for the train wreck of it all. But Disney had the idea of, hey, we're going to put this out at Cannes, which it was like, okay, we're gonna put it out at Cannes. Hopefully, get that good buzz. You got James Mangold, you got Harrison Ford, all this good jazz, right? They put it out, and reviews. I can't remember what it's at right now. I think it was like there's like 22 to 30 reviews, something like that, and it's like a 52. So it's a run. Not a great start. Still, again, tons of people going to see it. I don't know if Cannes was the right audience for it. And even though this sounds bad, I feel like it might have been the right audience if Steven Spielberg directed and might have got a little more leeway, but it's not. It's James Mangold. And this is where it comes into as far as the box office and also just my expectations. Where Maddie asked, I'm going to preference. Well, here you go. Has your hype for Indiana 5 changed at all with the recent negative feedback? What are your personal expectations for it at this point? And people let me know too in the chat. I don't think your expectations are probably lower, but if they are, let me know. It hasn't a little. I won't lie, like a little. But to me, what I'm looking at is what it potentially tells me, and that's just these could be people that I don't even like as far as like their opinions on films and stuff like that, right? So it doesn't tell me too much, and Rotten Tomatoes is just an aggregator. But what it tells me could be a potentially the film is not the greatest, but I hope that the send off for Indiana is good. Whether it is him dying or whether it is him sticking around, whatever it may be, I hope it feels fulfilling because this legitimately is the last time. The last trailer did get me more excited, but the first few trailers haven't. Yeah, I think it's about the same. I'm getting more excited watching it. I get excited as for me. I just need the ending to be good, but what I really just need is to make sure that Harrison Ford shows up and does his thing. I'm not saying he won't. The same way in Force Awakens he showed up and did his thing. To me, I've said this before, where it's a weird thing in video games. Story is the most important thing to me, more than gameplay, whatever that. I like to be locked in for most games. I like to be locked in the story. For movies, it's character, which sounds weird because people say, "Oh, it's story first." I get that perspective, but for me, it's just because I need to enjoy the character, whether I'm enjoying cheering them or hating them. I want to be locked in that character, right? So, if he's there, he performs like Indy, and he's great, then I'll have issues probably, but like at least I'll be able to like it because it's like it's one more Harrison Ford. The same way as when Hugh Jackman retired, it's like, well, X-Men Origins isn't great, but I will watch it because it's one more performance as Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, right? So my expectations are like a little lower, which might help going in. So it's a little lower, but I'm not unexcited. It didn't turn me around there. Plus, James Mangold, I don't think's made a bad movie. I'd have to look, but like, bam, Copland, you got Logan in there, 9 Day. Those are some ones I like. 310 to Yuma. What else has he done recently? Ford v Ferrari. To me, it's even if movies I don't love, I like them and I think they're good. So I really think it's gonna be fine that way. Let's go down chat a little bit. Disney's having a rough year between Iger versus DeSantis. Yeah, it's not. It just Guardians at least was a win, and we'll talk about Elementals in a second. That's not the greatest, so we'll see. Idle at 9%. People are tuning in to watch the assumed train wreck. Definitely, but I think some people are tuning in because the only reason I'm tuning in the first time, now the train wreck, but the first time is because it is attached to Euphoria, right? And Sam Levinson so far, his career has been very mixed with me. I think Euphoria is great, but the other stuff I've seen of his hasn't been the greatest. So Espub says Elementals is premiering at Cannes too. That may be the biggest mistake, unless it's really good. But to me, it's kind of generic. Cannes critics don't hold back on those reviews. I agree, and maybe there's something when it comes out that we go, wow, like this makes sense as far as like it goes past, right? It's one of those top tier Pixar ones where I go, man, there is something really well here because. I feel like I've watched one trailer and that's about it. I feel like what they're trying to do is like a racial, maybe I'm wrong, but is it supposed to be kind of like a play on an interracial couple really? Or like even racism, like the fire and the water? Maybe it's not even that deep. Maybe I'm reading into it. It's just like the first thing I saw is like, it's all about their differences. And I think there's going to be a friendship or a romance there. Right. So I could be wrong, could be right, but we'll get in that next. But as far as Indiana Jones goes, box office, like I said, I'm very curious to see how people react to Indiana Jones. Not even the movie, or not even just like like the reviews and how they like it. Just are people gonna go out and stuff? It is. Yeah, Espo says yeah, it is for that. Okay, that's kind of what I picked up on the trailers. I've only seen the one. I don't even remember it. But Indiana Jones, like, Indy, same thing. It has a good buffer as far as you got Indy. The next week you got Insidious Red Door, which probably won't do the greatest, and then Mission Impossible. So that's pretty much all you get is the first week and the second week. That's when I could see having a big drop. Because if word of mouth's not good, and if people don't care about Indy, and that's the thing, I don't think people have, you know, I don't know. I haven't felt the hype yet. I haven't felt people saying they need to say this, and I don't know what it is really. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's a collective of people going, oh, it's not Steven Spielberg. I don't think it's that, because most people probably don't even know Spielberg's not doing it. There's just something, and maybe it's not too close yet, but I just feel like there's something in the air, and it's not Indiana Jones, you know? Could be wrong, but I feel like it's going to have, I'm going to say, and projections aren't even out yet, I'm going to say 60-80 is its ballpark. Could even be lower, but I'm going to say 60 to 80. Second weekend, that the same thing. I got to wait till that one. I need to wait more of the second movie. I could see it if it's 60 to 80 only, it could have like a 40-50, but that's because like that would be taking it to what? If it gets to 60, that'd be like 30, 25 million, somewhere in there. So it's like, well, that wouldn't be good. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Crystal Skull, which is like an $800 million movie. International markets, I don't know how they react to Indiana Jones in this day and age. So we'll see. All in Game says Mangle's very good, but has a couple of stinkers. Cain Leopold, Girl Interrupted. 9 Day isn't great according to a lot of people. 9 Day to me is like a solid 7 out of 10. I don't know what people are on the game. You think Girl Interrupted is a stinker? No, Girl Interrupted's great. Fantastic there. Kate Leopold I haven't seen in a while to comment on, but I remember liking it. So far, even if that's a stinker stuff, I really enjoy to like his stuff or love his stuff. So we'll see. And then, yeah, Elementals, that right now is tracking at what is it? It's like a 26, pretty much a 20 to 30 box office run. And that, or no, just for the opening weekend, not a box office run. It's coming out same day as Flash. We were talking about this, me and Emily, the other night, where it is different audiences, but it's not enough. To me, it's the point where it's not that, and I think I might be taking my kids to, well, I don't know. I think I'm going to wait for the Flash, because my daughter Gwen did want, like, because it's two Batman and Flash, and Supergirl, so she wanted to. I just don't know as far as, like, hey, like, is it dark? Is it too long? Is it really wordy? I don't know. So we'll see. Maybe I'll talk to the wife about that. But either way, here's my point is, the Flash is either people in families are going to go see it, or the mom and dads are going to go see it. The same way as, yeah, we're going to go see Elementals. We're going to see Elementals. Yeah, Summer Hansen, don't leave the chat. That's just for the video listeners. People are going to see it, but like myself, it's so funny. We're talking about this. Anyway, sorry, I'll get back to that point. The Venn diagram, families are going to see the Flash, or they're going to see it later on. We will see it, and I brought this up in the Discord, and finally, just this last weekend, she brought it up, but my kids not once have been like, hey, what about that Fire and Ice movie, Fire Water movie element? Like, there's times where I see a preview and they'll ask, like, oh, when's that coming out? Like, they don't need a specific date, but they like a general idea of like, hey, like, what's happening with this one? Like, how close is it? And I say, oh, it's this amount of days away, stuff like that. Gwen asked about this weekend, I think because they saw something in a store, but before that they never asked. There's just not much general excitement with that. I see no excitement or hype for that, and this confirms it, right? I think we had already been saying that before this tracking, but 26 to 30, man, it is. I saw this tweet, and it's true, and I don't know when it started and who started it, but then there's all these theories, right, of just like, is it because of they did the straight to Disney Plus thing, whatever it is, we've gone over them. What has happened to Pixar and Disney animation to, it was like those movies would come out, and even if they didn't have like the huge Avengers hype, they were surefire big time hits, sometimes $1 billion hits, but just big time hits. Lightyear came out, and that was the changing of the guard. To me, the fact Lightyear made what it made, it's like 300, 400 million, something like that. No fucking way. That's super crazy. That Lightyear, to me, part of, hey, I got the replica in there. To me, the biggest animation film of all time series. I don't care about Frozen. I don't care about, whatever about Mario. I know that Toy Story is not even number one, but still, to me, just universally over these decades, Toy Story is the Disney Pixar brand. It's the house that Disney built or the house that Toy Story is Pixar is the house that Toy Story built. Finally, I got there. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know what can do because it's not like before we said, "Okay, we need to wait for these other animated movies to see if there's something going on with just animation." That's not the case. Puss in Boots was a hit. Mario, third biggest animated movie of all time. Minions almost made $1 billion and stuff like that. People are still seeing these movies. It's just that it's not hitting, but it's tough now because it's just that's why I think a few what was it, months ago we got that announcement of Toy Story 5, which everyone goes, we don't need, but guess what? We'll all go pay for it. And then Frozen 3, which of course I thought was going to happen. We all did, but still, it's like, okay, finally happening. I think, and like what Nerdy says over here, if Elemental bombs, I fully expect Iger to do a top-bottom reorganization of Pixar. The leadership will change. There will be animated films. Animated films can't keep flopping like this. I agree, but I don't know if it's a full reorganization. I think some people might leave because they don't like it, but you could be true. There might be some of that. I think it's just you're going to see a lot of the brands that were hits get pushed. So already we saw a glimpse of that Toy Story 5. Oh, right, Inside Out 2 is happening. You got Inside Out 2, Toy Story 5, and you got Frozen. Any film that and even if they don't want it, even if there's something that ends perfect, like Up, which I don't know what the box office is, but Up doesn't need a sequel, right? Ed Asner's even passed away. But like, there's something that with these films is not hitting, so they'll go, what do we have in the back pocket that's a bona fide hit? To me, Lightyear was that, and I think if Lightyear would have been hit, they've still been leaning that way, but it could be like, well, we can make these original films, but let's see, Lightyear was only 266 on a $200 million budget. It lost the money. God, I thought it was a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know. How are they doing Toy Story 5 before Incredibles 3? All in game, I do not want Incredibles 3 if it's anything like Incredibles 2. If we had Time Jump or something new, sure. But Incredibles, which Incredibles 3 we probably will get. Incredibles 2, man, what a disappointment. But yeah, it's one of those things where I will get a bunch of brands. I'd have to look it up as far as you got Inside Out. What else is there? Wreck-It Ralph 3. That's an easy one. I don't even know if that's $1 billion one, but I'm trying to think of just the biggest. Let's see, biggest animated films box office. Let's take a look and just see what other ones haven't got a sequel or just even a 2, because I feel like that's what it's going to be. So list of highest grossing animated films. Okay, the Lion King remake, which yeah, it's technically that's the thing, but I don't count it even though it should be. But okay, Incredibles 2, yeah, I think we can get it. Incredibles 3, Finding Dory. Yeah, is there more to do there? Yeah, Zootopia, right? Someone tell me in the chat. They announced it's Zootopia 2, and that's one where I was like, yeah, that to me makes sense because I didn't understand for years. Even if you don't do it with those specific main characters, that to me wasn't a story where, it ended and you can never do anything with this world. It's no, you can do lots of adventures. They did those short films. So Zootopia 2, that's already happening. So that's the one where it's if we think it's going to be happening, Inside Out, the sequels are already happening. That's the thing. Now here's one, Coco, 800 million. That's one where I go, you can't do a sequel to that. There's nothing to do there with it. But I could see a Coco 2. Encanto 2, I think that's another one that could do very, very well because it did come out during COVID times, but it was such a hit, I could see a sequel doing well. That's one where I feel like if it wasn't theaters, that would have been a big win for them. And that's the tough thing, right? There's a couple films for everybody where it felt like it could have been a big win, but COVID was happening, right? So let's see. Yeah, they did after Lightyear bomb. They got investors calling now Toy Story 5. Yeah, well, that's what we talked about. Should be Incredibles 3 with that time jump. Yeah, time jump, that would make me happy. A time jump is something that I want. I thought we were going to get that, not pick up where we left off and just kind of do the same movie again, except flip Mr. Incredible with Elastigirl, but that's what you get. Do you think Shrek 5 would be more successful than Toy Story 5? No, I don't. I think Shrek 5 could be very successful, but not more than Toy Story 5. I think when you get the original gang, I really think that they're gonna bring back Woody, even though they said it's end of Woody's story because Lightyear just bombed, and they might feel, well, we need everybody back, so let's get Woody, even if it's just for a small scene to bring him back. I hope not, but maybe they don't go that way. But I feel like that's the route they're gonna go. So yeah, I don't know. We will see what happens in the near future. Let's see. Is there anything else we haven't talked about here? We talked about Indiana Jones. We talked about, these are the last three we'll talk about here, and then we'll get to Maddie's question. Fast X, which funny enough, they did one of their lower domestic openings, but then they did international pretty well. I think it was like a 319 or something like that. And then they announced that they're going to be doing the female spinoff, which I'm actually a fan of because I feel like with those films, as you can go check out my review, thanks everyone that listened to that, did pretty well. There's so many, not so many, there's too many characters in those movies where there's people I want to see and you don't get enough time with. That makes sense. What does it mean with low domestic? I feel like we are. I think the box office this week, because at first it was tracking a little bit lower, and then it came in like even the China numbers were lower, and then it's like actually it's doing a little bit better than I expected. The excitement for the franchise is definitely waning. It's definitely getting lower. People I think are getting less engaged, and it's just kind of like the same old thing. So by the time they get that spin-off, I don't know how it's going to be. And then you know what's going to happen, right? It's going to bomb, or it's not going to do, it's going to do under expectations, and people are going to blame, it's going to say it's woke and all this female garbage and stuff like that, you know? So anyways, I think that the thing with Fast is it's starting to wane the excitement, but as long as the international box office can keep it this way, you'll get. I think we're this weekend show we're gonna get to the trilogy of Fast 10, right? Fast 10 Part 2. I think we're gonna get that. If this weekend was lower, I think they would have went But it's even if it clocks in now, like I suppose was talking about in our Discord. Go join our Discord. It's like a $340 million budget, right? So that's the tough thing. That's the tough thing where it's gonna be tough to make a profit, but that's also because the director left and it was shut down for whatever. Even if Fast, whatever the next two ones both go lower and lower, it's still I think gonna be a profit overall. So you still do it. So I think we're gonna get to that third one, and you know I didn't enjoy it that much. There's things I liked about it, but I'll watch them all because I still have enough fun about it, right? Like I didn't enjoy it as far as like a good film. I can't wait. I'll be watching again. No, next time I'll watch Fast 10 is when I do a marathon. Where there's other Fast and Furious films where I will go out and be like, oh, I'd be in the mood to watch Fast 5 or this and that, right? So we'll see. And this is where the difference is like I have been wrong. Sorry, there's something happening in the chat. You know, that person can take a little time out. They're being nice, but you know, you don't have to berate other GeekVerse watchers for responses and stuff like that. If you meant well, then I'm sorry, but you know, maybe just work on your tact a little bit there. You know. Anyways, Spider-Verse. There's something I was wrong about. I was the guy saying, hey, it's going to do a little bit better, but not anything crazy. Because I kept, and again, I'm going to preference. I keep saying so many people like putting Spider-Verse at their number one list. I keep seeing people put like, oh, it's going to be top of the summer. No. I don't think so. Now it's doing a lot better than I thought it was going to be doing. But I don't think it's going to be that big, but still. So the first one it was like what was it? I can't bring it up right now. It's like a 30 to 40. I know I was not prepared. I was moving this weekend. But anyways, the projections right now are like a 70, 85% opening weekend. Bigger than fucking Shazam, bigger than a few other movies where I was like, oh, really? You know, it's looking to have like a 50% jump pretty much, you know, and that's crazy. And people have always talked about this, right? They're like, oh, the what is it? That's it. Yeah, it's tracking. Now it's gone up to 105. It's not flash numbers, but that's great. I didn't even see the updated one that's tracking 105. When I saw it, Nerdy was it was the 60-80 tracking. So that's fucking phenomenal. And everyone had told me, this is where I am wrong. The show's called Trash Totally, but Trash Totally wrong this go around. Everyone would tell me, oh, because the Oscars. Oh, hang on. I got to for the podcast. I got to take a break. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. We're back. I don't like to take a break right in the middle of the topic, but you know I have to. You join our Discord. Yes, I see hands. Yeah, like I said, I had to do something there. It was you know, it seemed nice enough, but I gotta just talk to people a little regularly, you know. But anyways, people go, hey, the Oscar. People loved it. So many, you know, James Gunn, number one comic book movie, word of mouth. Netflix, it was on there when it came there. It was like trending for weeks. I understood all that, but I was like, I just don't see it having a massive big jump. I really didn't. But here's the time where I go, you know what? I have underestimated that. The same way, Hansi said, hey, I've talked to people see the Keaton thing, don't really care. In my walk of life, I know people that have seen Spider-Verse that really like it, but I didn't see like a fervor that's going to get it to the 60 to 85 million. You know, I didn't see it was going to be, man, this is going to be a massive jump. And just to me, that's a massive jump. Doing a whole 50% jump, that's huge, you know? So yeah, it's going to do really well. I think it's going to review really well. I'm looking very forward to it. And that is too, because like, Elemental and Rudy Gilman will be slaughtered by Spider. Yeah. What is this Ruby Gilman movie? I've seen this a few times. I know it's coming out in that sphere. I don't know why. Like, and you know what? Here's the thing though. Maybe Disney's the same thing as me. Now, I wouldn't have put this Elementals movie in the same month as Spider-Verse, but because to me, I think Elementals isn't looking hot, so move it. So no pun intended. Move it somewhere else. But maybe in a, you know, a year ago, it's like before it gets out there, it's like, well, this is a Disney Pixar animated film. It's going to go out there. It's going to do really, really good. So, oh, excuse me. So, who cares about Spider-Verse? Look at what it did. Sure, it won an Oscar, 400 million. We can beat that. Now, in retrospect, you look at it and go, oh, that's a mistake. I wouldn't have once I saw the Elemental like marketing and stuff like that, but I think it's from Paramount, this Ruby Gilman movie. Yeah, my kids are going to be seeing that. It's going to be like that fucking Mummies movie. So it's doing really well. So I just feel like it's not the only kids movie, but I feel like it's going to take over the kids movie hype. And it's still more for adults and everything. It's a family movie like that. It's not so kiddie where it's like, I have to see the kids and I'm not going to like being here and stuff like that. So we'll see. And then on the other side, which we're going to watch in a second, because yeah, I just saw Nerdy that broke there. I'm going to finish this topic, then we're going to bring up the Flash trailer. Those fucking bastards. I literally was going to that was going to be the full topic, like the number one. But Transformers, it's not too hot either. Same thing apparently was tracking in China, and then it like went up. So apparently like China box office tracking has been a little iffy, but who knows? Because there's been so many movies coming out lately in China where it's like, oh, it looks like it's doing good, but then it doesn't really. Or no, sorry, it's done. Those franchises have done well in the past. But now when they go back, it's changed and their own movies are doing good and stuff like that, right? They don't need the North American movies. So that one doesn't surprise me. I know people will use the argument now of, oh, well, with Michael Bay, look at all that success. They should have never parted way with Bay's. One, I think he was probably done after 5. And 2, I would argue that the Michael Bay movies is what got people to this point of turning off and not caring about Transformers. The same way, I don't care whether you like the movie or not. I like the movie. So many people will tell me that original Justice League bombed, and not so many. I'd say a certain group of people, but they'll tell me, oh, that Justice League 2017, you know why that bombed? Because they switched directors, and it's Joss Whedon, and people didn't like what happens next there. No, not at all. It bombed because a couple DC movies came out people didn't care for. It bombed because there's so many people when I talked to them that said, I don't really care about this DC after the didn't like BVS and we're out. My mom didn't see, my mom sees these big, like not all the MCU, not the DCU ones, but the biggest one. She saw Joker, which I'm like, this isn't really up your alley, but we went to go see it. After BVS, oh, you gonna see Justice League? No, I'm fine. You know, and not that she's she's like 20% Rotten Tomatoes. No, I could just tell that she was not invested anymore. That's how I feel in Transformers, that people are not invested anymore. And to me, it's the biggest thing where I liked Bumblebee. Let's see. Oh, this is a new trailer for The Flash, but in English. It's a pretty good trailer. Okay, well, I'm going to bring it up in just a second. We're going to react. With Bumblebee, I really like that, and I would have seen this. That's the problem with the summer. Elementals, Indiana Jones, if it doesn't do the hottest. This, as we've talked about, we're about to go on a fucking run here. What comes out? Let's take a look at this. Little Mermaid this week. Spider-Verse the week after. Transformers the week after. Flash and Elementals the week after. Nothing that week. And then Indiana Jones and Ruby Gilman, the Teenage Kraken, the week after. Those are 6 to 7 movies that in the past would have been billion-dollar bangers by themselves. You know? But now, not so hot. So, okay, let's bring it up. I'm going to bring up the trailer. Right now, the trailer. I don't know why I turned into JFK there for a second, but let's find it here. The Flash final trailer. Let's see. I turned my phone around because I feel like someone already tweeted a spoiler out that I didn't want to see. Okay, so at least we'll get to watch it here. Where is it? I'm guessing it's probably on Discussing Film, right? Let's go filters. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get there. Okay, Final Trash. There we go from the DC account. Let's see. I got the audio on here. Okay, so people. Oh, I gotta actually screen share for once. Do you all not get movies spoiled for you by watching every single trailer spot that gets released? Yeah, sometimes. To me, it's like it goes back and forth as far as my caring level of like some movies I care, some movies I don't. I guess with Flash, I don't because I just unfortunately feel like I have heard some things before, so I feel like I can't be spoiled too much because it's just been in my circles. That's more stuff that's like I feel like it's more about being in the circles, not so much the trailers, which can help or hurt, but when we cover news, and you have to because that's what drives things, but that can hurt where it's like, yeah, like I knew Winter Soldier, like Bucky killed his, Iron Man's mom. Luckily, when I was watching the movie, I completely forgot. So when that reveal happened, I'm like, oh shit, right. But I was like, oh, I remember hearing about this a year ago that's the big finale is the reveal is Bucky kills Iron Man's mom, and that drives them apart. So I'm going to share it right now, get it up there. Let me know. Well, hopefully there's audio. If not, I'm sorry, but I'll pull it up. Sometimes it works on those, but let's get this started.
Oh my God! Flash!
Hi.
I love you!
Thank you.
Passing you into Mr. Wayne.
No, please don't.
I need you here now,
Nice.
Barry.
Jeremy Irons. Yeah, I'd heard about this today, and that's what I want to read. I love that shot of him running like that. Love
you
his
could
surprise.
travel back in time.
But Bruce, I can fix things. I can save people. I can save my mom.
Again, and that's what the final
Save your
trailer.
parents.
I can save your parents. Ooh, look at that pitch. Won't we save your mom and dad?
Everything.
Love you, Mom. I love you too.
And so far,
So how was it this week? How's school?
nothing we haven't seen
was-
before.
Good?
Oh,
This is mad trippy. Dude, this is catastrophic.
This world must die.
song choice, okay.
I'm not gonna lose her again.
I'm not a fan of the song
Stop,
choice.
Clark.
My name is Kara. I will help you.
Yeah, see, so far everything's like kind of similar to what we
Interesting
saw.
group. Want some help?
Oh yeah. Don't show me the
He's
get nuts.
Batman?
You want to get nuts?
No,
Let's get nuts.
they're just overusing that so much.
Oh, this rips!
It just rips. I haven't heard that since 2006.
We're in uncharted territory.
Future begins.
We try not to die.
Doing great. As always, looking good.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Let's go.
Here's some funny looking shots with characters. I'm not gonna lie. This is great. Flash Tornado, that's great.
You have fancy friends.
No, it's an Uber. Oh, exec.
Yeah, and see, that's the stuff where you'll get that more marketing come and stuff like that. You're gonna get the right tickets on sale now. People know, go, oh, they'll see it in their TV. Oh, like on sale. So yeah, that trailer was fine, but I think like that's a perfect on sale now tickets are on sale now trailer. I think it looks lots of fun. It looks like a big event, and that's one thing I will say that I have seen from other than the negative people have been like, hey, yes, it's a Batman, Superman, Flash, or Supergirl, Flash movie. They're all in there, but at the end of the day, it is a Flash story, and that's why for me, if that happens too, great. I know lots of people will disagree. That's where I still like Civil War. Yes, there's a bunch of Avengers, but at the end of the day, it's a Steve Rogers story. There's lots of characters, and he's not always on all the screen time. But at the end of the day, it's a Steve Rogers story. And if we can get there with Flash, great. Yeah, the one I get nuts thing, I understand, and I understand the point of view too, where it's like I'm fine with him saying it. That's no problem with me. It's just that. And it's different too. Defoe says I'm something a scientist myself. Great, fun little callback and stuff like that. But it's not in any of the trailers. So he said it was such a fun surprise. But at the same time, Defoe's Green Goblin is not Keaton's Batman, right? That's something where it's like you're gonna want to advertise that. I just feel like it's in every single trailer and TV spot now that I'm kind of over it. I'll be excited for when it happens in the movie. I will say like, it feels like a little stage. It's like the delay, but it's fine. I'm waiting to see how it feels in the actual movie and stuff like that. But All in the game says, I know people love Winter Soldier, but Civil War is still my favorite. It's my favorite of the Cap trilogy and the MCU. I got it third, so I'm up there with you. I love Civil War, but yeah, they're not too much more in that trailer. The trailer's looking good. I think people are gonna get excited. A quick little shot, some more humor in there. You got some Iris in there. There's always this back and forth debate about Affleck's Batman knowing if he can time travel or not, because that happened in the Snyder Cut, so shouldn't he know? But maybe he didn't know that happened. So obviously people are always talking about that too, like what's canon, what's not canon. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. I think that's a very good, starting trailer of, hey, it is happening. It's going to be out soon and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm excited. I was bummed when I saw people, got a bunch of screenings. Canada got zero for the Flash. That was quite annoying and everything, but it's not too far away. It's not too far. But yes, that does it for Trash Told You. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll be back at some point next week. Thank you to everybody in the chat popping off, giving me some questions and stuff like that. It was a fun time in there. And yeah, we'll be back. Spider-Verse predictions will be on the Patreon feed soon. It'll be live sometime end of this week or next week. So that'll be fun with me and the guys. So until then, I promise you, it'll not be boring.